Good morning. It is Phoenix Amore. So, what did I say that was very powerful? When I put all that, and I've been blogging these curse words, and people are like, oh my gosh, her language, her language. First of all, long time ago, when Joel Osteen put up the little blog about the fishermen, and he said, I'm more than sure fishermen had potty mouth. I'm more than sure they did too. But it was when I said God knows your heart, that's very real. And so the one thing that I needed to express to people, when you're dealing with other people who understand religion and spirituality, when you speak it, right, that's why I said speaking somebody's language means that man right there could totally get what I was saying. In his mode of meditation, of course, he could stop and say, you know what, Holy Spirit has nothing to do with beast. Remember when I talk about animalistic ways, okay? When I talked about scavengers and buzzards, all of the parables, right? When you talk about Native American shaman, the healers, when people try to make it so much quote unquote evil, however you want to say it, that is just their way of knowing what animal spirit, quote unquote, is linked to that person. But just like, let's say a dog can be very loyal, but if it has rabies, it's all of a sudden evil. All that stuff is the kind of parables that people need to understand. When you have very spiritual or religious people who understand the parables at a deep level, when you hear that, you don't go, oh, is that person crazy? Not at all. You understand that the dog was infected with something. Understand why it turned rabid. That's the difference. So at its core, decent, manageable. When something infected the dog, now it's rabied. It has rabies. So that's the thing that you have to understand. So when I talk about birds and whatnot, eagle specifically, when it's in the Bible, you can see where it talks about believers, certain believers being able to soar like eagles and all that kind of stuff. It's very, very real. And so that's the thing that I needed to express to people. Why I speak in terms of animals is because I understood when I read the Bible, when we talk about blessed eyes and ears, I'm like, I get that on a totally different level than most people would get it. And so now when I talk about mind, body, spirit, and I put the picture of a golden eagle, understanding that God is like, that's kind of the class that's the level you're on. And when you really could see how golden eagle, right, they're not bullies. The one thing about a golden eagle, they only hunt when they need to hunt, right? And you understand about a scavenger or a buzzard, they'll let you do all the work and then take what's left. That's the key there. When I said some people are acting like buzzards, that's what I meant with the social media scavengers, where they're watching all these moves of these people and taking it and then really feeling entitled to do so, right? And so now you have people who are not afraid of the whole legal system, because what's been said, these people just take stuff and then they send you a letter and tell you to be quiet that they're taking your stuff. That's not how the world works. See, that's when they got a little bit too arrogant, and now people are like, I can get a lawyer just the same as you and we can end up in court, and trust me, you're going to end up looking wrong because I have proof that you did order this and that, and all of a sudden you copied the design. So it's more the universal law. If you notice what it said was, it's not quote unquote illegal per se, but she owes karmically. And so that's a very powerful message to have to deliver to people. It's like, you think you just doing everything. That's why I said sorcery when I started talking about law is that very thing where it's like, I know I'm stealing your stuff, but at the end of the day, I can do that. It's legal, but spiritual law, it's illegal, and that person owes karma. So it always catches up somewhere. So understanding when I have certain visions like the bug spray, right? The insects, keeping something out of a perimeter. Okay, understanding that's pest people that are a problem. When I talk about a dog being bitten by bugs, understand that's God, that's that protection. Like, let me go ahead and spray around this perimeter so I do not get infected with, guess what, any sort of influence on that level. I'm not somebody that has any sort of a psychological disorder, however you want to say it. It's truly just spiritual discernment, to where it's like, all right, you got some pests that you need to basically keep out because they're going to try to infect you with their belief system, or however you want to say it. It's deep, it's real. But also knowing I was already prepped to deal with antagonistic type people, to the point where you'll read my blog and you'll see me writing and all this kind of stuff. Yes, I can really physically fight. You've also seen me, put the videos up of basketball and all the things that I can do still at 40, whatever. That wasn't even the point of it. The point was saying, no, I'm a real person and these are the things I can still do. But really, more so than anything, it's a very powerful gift to have to also maintain a clear energy. So it's one of those things where it's not a, oh, I think I'm better than so and so. It really is, look, you have some beliefs to you. If you think about bugs, they bite. So it's not per se that the person could just be by you and not start some stuff. So that's the difference. That's the powerful messages that you can understand in your dreams when you know what you're doing. Dream interpretation work, like I do for some people, but still letting them know, hey, you still have to step back and think how that applies to you. So these are the things that I've taught basically my oldest, and this is the thing that people are like, oh my God, what is she teaching him? The dreams, learning how to be in touch with that instinct, but the difference is dealing with Holy Spirit. That is keeping that energy clear. So now you have this boy who they labeled for whatever reason. We already know why that happened, whatever. Here he is now at 16 saying, all right, listen, as we're talking about what school I go to, all I know, it's been some crazy stuff going on. This is a 16-year-old that can articulate that to me and say, I know one school they had to clean up some of the athletes because a lot of them were smoking weed and drinking. I know another school, they went from weed to heroin. This is all real stuff that the kids have seen day in and day out that's progressively gotten worse. And so when you have now parents homeschooling and you wonder why, and then you have in a way them still trying to bully you to say, well, if you're going to homeschool, then they can't play sports. They lost sight of why some parents are even homeschooling until you start seeing people shooting up people at the school and all that. You can't even comprehend that. But that's him now saying, I think there's a couple of schools that don't have all that going on that we could probably explore. So him coming into an awareness like, I completely get now why my mom yanked me out of the school, because all that going on, and then some of the teachers not even being able to see him for who he is. He needed that pause, and so I do not regret it. So right now that all this stuff has come out, you see how I bridged that even with the racial stuff. And I'm like, I started getting on some black folks first. Some of them were like, well, she must want to be white. Nah, that's not even about that. That's me being a black woman to say, hey, you've bullied some of these white people into being afraid to speak, and they're not even racist. And then you have some white people who are not racist talk to the white racists and say, you're not going to do that. That's how the division started. So notice how it's all come together now when I can articulate why. I started on one side, claim that I want to be white. I can't even care. All I know is a black woman. I'm looking at some of the black people acting away, and I'm like, okay, now some of that is just not okay. Some of that's just not cool, because you're infecting other people. Do you? So understanding the dream with the bug spray, I'm like, do you all day long, but you're not going to infect me with whatever belief system that you have. So now that everybody's finally come full circle and understand the messages that were being delivered, now you get why there was such a peace to me when God was like, you're going to be targeted because you have a different belief system from those that have been in power for all this time, that were trying to make it a little too liberal. Okay, that's why I broke it down again. I said, you do realize there's some conservative gay and lesbian people that look at some of the gay, lesbian, liberal people are very disgusted. That's very real. That's the stuff they don't like to hear. They try to lump everything together. So now we've broken that down. I said, you're not going to make me or turn me into the enemy just because I don't believe everything just like you. That's been the key the whole time. Lucifer is a great deceiver. You guys take care.